Hey everybody, welcome to Open the Gates. I'm your host Matt Burke, and today we're going to be having on John Dillard. He's going to be talking about his new book, The Buckler, Canadian Hustle. And if you guys could give a warm welcome to John Dillard, that'd be awesome. What's up, John?
Hey, what do you mean? You told me I could just sit back and relax. You take care of the promotion.
Oh, it's different when you show up here.
Oh man, every time.
Yeah, every time. And
thanks
also
for having me. I really
sure.
enjoy your show. I enjoyed your quaff interview. I
Oh, really?
That one. Yeah.
Oh, good. Someone's listening.
I like the fact that when you talk about when you talk to the creators, you actually like talk about the actual story in the book. You can see Quaff like his eyes light up. It's so rare that people actually like read the story and want to talk to you about what's happening here and what's next. He's like,
oh yeah, I love that, man. I love getting into the nitty gritty, you know. And also today we have a special co-host, my homie Brian Christgau. If you guys give a warm welcome to Brian. What up, Brian? How's it going, bro?
What up, Matt? What up, Dillard?
How's it over on the East Coast? He's over in Sleepy Hollow, bro. He lives like 10 minutes from Sleepy Hollow? Yeah. Straight up.
And it was a beautiful day today. Like I said, it was like 70 degrees, t-shirt weather, and then suddenly like when my phone lights up, it's like storm warning, and like suddenly now the skies are black. It's like Texas weather in New York today for some reason.
Dude. What about you, John? How was your day? I know you're probably about an hour from me.
I got a question real quick. I didn't know that Sleepy Hollow was a real place. This is a real place.
It wasn't originally. It wasn't originally. Yeah. It was originally part of Tarrytown, but they renamed it because the guy who wrote the original story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, wrote the story there and based it on the actual place, and like there's certain locations and everything. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, they changed the name mainly for tourism purposes. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, like all the Springfields across the United States.
Yeah. So like every Halloween, they do a haunted hayride and a headless horseman thing and all that. And
it's fun, dude. There's a movie that came out a while back called Herbert Huey. I don't know, some Adam Sandler movie. Awful movie. But one thing I like, the one redeeming quality about this movie was that it had that same small town Halloween. They were able to pull off that feeling that you got the first time you watched Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah,
or Sleepy Hollow, where it's like, oh, you actually can feel the layout of this town. It feels like something tangible and small and special. They did that in that movie. But the movie was just god awful. But they pulled it off.
Yeah,
pull off that feel, huh?
They've also preserved Washington Irving's house. You can actually go see it. It's like It's called Sunnyside, and it has like a beautiful view of the Hudson and everything. That's ruined by like the commuter train that goes through. But it's just like the place is like almost completely intact. Charles Dickens went to visit him there when he came to America. That's one of the first things he wanted to do was, damn, I'm in America. I got to go see Washington Irving. And if you've never read that original story, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, it is a doozy. It's a really good one. Brom Bones has to be one of the most badass names I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. How is your day going today, John Dillard?
My day's going pretty good. I had some real special moments just this morning with like family time. It was pretty great. So I'm in a good mood. Good. I'm ready to go. Like,
heck yeah,
real great stuff happening at home.
What's up, Captain Finity?
What up,
How you doing, bro?
Hey, Captain.
That's cool, man. I don't know. I when I first discovered you, I think I've probably seen you. I don't know where. I think it might have been on EVS's show, and you had this really badass trailer for your first Buckler book. And it kind of had like an old noir, like detective feel to it. And I was like, man, this guy gets down. He's got that cool voice, and he's filming a good concept. The trailer was really cool, but then you get to see the art, and I was like, ooh, the art's looking really badass. And then the character looked really cool too. And so I was like, I'm gonna fucking back that book. Backed it, loved the book. Couldn't wait for more. I wanted to get more of the Buckler, and I found out there was a ash can. And so we'll get in a little more about that later on the show. But I mean, I know who you are. Brian knows who you are. But for the folks that are watching that do not know who you are, maybe you could tell them a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. I am a storyteller, and I've had this aspiration to do artwork my entire life, but never really found a good avenue to do that, because I've been in almost every aspect of making art that there is to do. Everything from, doing fine art, having some of my drawings and charcoal work in the gallery, and, to doing tattoos
Nice.
in the back of a car in high school,
man.
For extra money. I mean, I've done a lot of it.
Love it.
Did window paintings, did caricatures. I used to do parties where I would do caricatures and face painting for kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's sick, dude.
I mean, bunch of stuff. Done paintings. Sometimes people would contact me because I don't know if you noticed, but I do a lot of different styles and genres of art. Like I've done paintings where I do like funerary portraitures and stuff, where I paint stuff like that, and then I do really wacky stuff. And when Comicsgate came around, I had no idea. I had been out of the realm of comics for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
I had a comic book store when I was little. I used to go to, but I was a poor kid, right? I never actually had issue number 5 and issue number 6 and then issue number 7. And it never happened for me. It was always, here's issue number 48 of The Amazing Spider-Man. That looks cool. I'll pick that up. 2 weeks later, I could afford to go get Ghost Rider number 17, whatever.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean,
I never followed a story or an arc, I would always just buy the books for the pictures.
Me too.
But, so then some guy at my work, because he saw that I had like a Batman t-shirt on, and then he knew that I did artwork because, again, I always did side gigs, right? It was always like a side hustle, everything that had to do with art. And he saw some work that I did inside of where I was working, the main break room office. I had stuff in there, and he was like, "Hey, you ever thought about doing a comic book?" And I was like, "Of course I have. But, that's not something that people do. That's just something that highfalutin people do.
Right."
And he's like, "No, man, like you could do it if you." And then he started kind of explaining how to make a comic book, and it didn't sound too hard. So I went online, typed in how to make a comic book, started watching YouTube videos, and through auto scrolling, I was watching some stuff from, I think, Art by Jazza, the big, huge YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
Guys that have like millions of viewers. And then auto scrolling, I just left it on because I sleep with my phone, on and auto scrolling. When I woke up, it was on a video of this guy who called himself, Diversity in Comics.
Oh, okay.
And he changed his name to your boy Zach and, Comics Matter. But it was way back then, it was just Diversity in Comics. And I was like, oh, this guy's talking about comics, and he's talking about how to make them and how people are making them poorly, which was, to me, as an artist, it's a big help. When I hear critique, that's the only thing that helps me. I can't do anything with praise.
Right, nothing.
Critique is what makes you better.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay, so I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, oh, this guy's making a lot of sense. And then he makes a video. He's talking about, a buddy of mine is going to start a YouTube channel. He's an artist for DC. His name's Ethan Van Sciver. And I went to go watch one of his videos, and it was like early days where he was just drawing late at night.
Real quiet, yeah.
Real quiet. And I was driving a truck at the time, right? I was
okay.
I was making deliveries to Lowe's at night, swapping out trailers. So every time I would go on break, I would just pop it on and I'd watch. And I was like, oh, it's cool. He has like 20 people watching, and I was able to interact and talk.
Yeah.
And then it started getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, that right there, those little tiny, those videos where he was talking about how he does his process of doing it.
Yeah,
and then in particular, that one video where he goes to Michael's and shows, this is the stuff you need
all the shit
to make a comic. I was like, okay, cool. I can do this. It's not bad. This is not bad. And then that's how I kind of got into CG. And because it was such the dude's such an engaging, entertaining guy, right? You just kind of can't help but watch. It got to the point where every time my phone would go, boo-doo-doo, somebody's live, I would just push play and let it play on, or then I hold it on the side as I'm driving around. And so I didn't miss a thing. Right? I was able to watch every single video and just eating it all in. I was like, okay. And then I started making a YouTube channel. And, so that's kind of how that started rolling. And then it got to the point because I love this community so much, and I started doing a lot of fan art for all the ideas that your boy Zach was having. He was having ideas for like an alien story that he was going to call something this, another story he was going to call 499, another story that he was going to call this. And he was like, if I had an idea, and I was drawing in ideas and shooting him in the email to him, which is when I started meeting a lot of other people in what's called, that I now know is called the chat. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because before
back in the Disney.
Yeah, like before Comicsgate, I never watched a live YouTube video.
Me neither.
In my life.
I didn't know what the fuck that was. I didn't even watch
like,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube was a place for me that I go to find out how to fix my screen door. Right? It wasn't a place where I would get entertainment from.
Yeah. And the cat videos and shit.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is a YouTube. Oh, I used to watch, fails.
That's all
YouTube was to me. Was you put it on during a party, watch people like 100, like an hour long of epic fails, people falling,
Yeah. Like skateboard, like crash videos, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so now I've actually found out that people actually watch this stuff live, and there are people in the chat, and then it was so weird and new. It was blowing my mind that I would see people in one person's chat, and I would see the same people in other people's chats, right? It was so weird and foreign to me. I know it sounds stupid now, but it's like, it was
not at all. We were
to
there.
me, that was mind blowing,
Same here, man.
Wow. Yeah, we were there.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so that's kind of cool. And then I got really excited because Zach hit me up. And he was like, he actually replied to one of my emails for this alien. What up, Barton? And he was like, would you be interested in working on the book?
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, hell yeah. He's like, what if I did a book, right? I'm looking for an artist to work on a book called Jawbreakers. Ooh. And I was like, oh, that would be great, right? And then didn't hear from him again. And then like a month later, I got on one of his videos, he was talking about how he got his buddy Malin to be working on a book called Jawbreakers. And I was like, son of a bitch.
God damn it.
Oh, man.
But then I saw, and thank goodness, right? Because at that time, I was not ready. I was not ready to make a book. I did make a book around that time. It was awful. It was just an abysmal failure. And, but I started, through that community of people and through the fan art that I was doing, I kind of honed my skills and got better as a sequential artist. And people started hitting me up and saying, would you be willing to draw something for me for money? And I said, sure.
Hell yeah.
And from there, it kind of, through hard work and dedication, I snowballed to the point where I was making just as much money on commissions as I was during my work week at work.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do little tests, right? I would say, okay, this is nerve-wracking, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off some time from work. I'm going to tell them I'm sick or something.
Right.
And I'm going to do a test. I'm just going to say yes to every commission that comes in. Because I couldn't before, right? I had a full-time job.
Right.
I would say, if people say, hey, could you do this for me? I would say, give me some time, whatever. So I said, okay, I'm just going to say yes to everything and see how much money I make in a week and see how it goes. I did that 4 separate times because I was real nervous because doing something like making a career switch.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's a big decision.
Yeah,
I had a kid. I had a kid at the time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So that's even more so.
Got a wife. Got a mortgage.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let me make sure that this is something that's real and it's not going away. And so the 4th time I did it, the first time I did it, I didn't make as much, right? And the second week I tried it again. And this is over the course of about 4 months. The 4th time I did it, I made not only more, but like significantly more than what I was making at work. And I was like, okay, I can try to do this full time. And I'm not stupid. I knew like there was, when I open up my DMs, there's a surge and then there's lulls, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, I got to make sure this is something solid and something that's going to be there for reals. But people seem to resonate enough with my work and what I was doing that I was able to say, okay, you know what? I'm making the switch. And that's when this community and Comicsgate has given me the opportunity to become a full-time illustrator.
That's fucking
So
awesome.
that's what I do now. So I do other people's books primarily. Now, again, it's much more work. It's many more hours. But it's something I love doing.
And you're your own boss, too.
Making me better.
Yeah.
For my own stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah, man.
Then I woke up, had a sandwich, popped on YouTube, you know, and now I'm here live with Brian and Matt. And that's how I got here.
And that's how you're here. Poof. I've yeah, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm in a similar situation now. But I gotta know, man, what's your favorite metal band?
I don't listen to music.
Wrong answer.
You don't listen to music at all?
No, I listen to.
You got a guitar back there.
I like metal.
I like. You do.
You know I do. It's just
you don't have one favorite band.
I don't know enough about it. I'm not the kind of person that knows names of bands, and I'm certainly not the kind of person that knows like names of people in bands, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Heavens no.
I do. I ain't gonna lie.
There's degrees of fandom.
You could appreciate this, Brian. It took me a long time before I realized that Eli Wallach was a Jew.
And like Eli Wallach's not Mexican for reals?
I thought this guy was as Mexican as a day is long. The longest.
No, whenever you watch a spaghetti western, if you see a Mexican, it's never a Mexican. That's one thing you gotta learn.
We're getting Black Sabbath in the chat by Corey. We're getting
Black Sabbath. I don't know what's considered metal.
Yeah, in my opinion, Black Sabbath and Motorhead are like up there, dude. Like Black Sabbath's like arguably the first metal band ever.
Yep. See, I hate Motorhead. Not because I hate Motorhead and their music.
Yeah.
I do like them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys watch wrestling.
Yeah, Triple H entrance.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I went to WrestleMania 20.
That.
WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood.
Oh, right? Yeah.
I was there. Slept on the concrete. Had roaches crawling on my face so I can get tickets.
Oh, man.
At the Staples Center. I got my tickets. I got some nosebleeds. Whatever, right? I get there. I'm like, I'm super hyped. My favorite wrestler is Triple H. Here he comes. And, you know, Motorhead does his theme song, The Game, right?
The Game.
I'm like, I'm ready for it. And I'm hearing all these dope theme songs. You hear Kurt Angle's theme song. Bum, ba-da-dum, 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 boom. When you hear this stuff come across the speakers in the Staples Center, it's rocking your like a hurricane, right? I'm like, this is going to be great. And all of a sudden, here comes Dave Batista. Triple H was fighting Batista at the time. He comes out. Yeah. Then I'm waiting for Triple H's music. Doesn't happen.
Oh.
So what happened? The stage starts to move, and right in front of me, right where I'm standing, right, when I'm standing up like this, cheering, Motorhead comes down. The band Motorhead comes down.
Oh, dope.
And they start to play his entrance.
That's fucking metal as fuck, dude. That's so dope.
Poorly.
And he doesn't deserve that.
Start to play his entrance very, very poorly.
Well, it's live, dude.
Not only that. I mean, you know this guy. You know Remy, right? You know how he...
Yeah. He was old. He's dying.
This geriatric old fuck. Then not only are they doing that, their stage is set up so that I can't see Triple H or his entrance because it's right in front of me.
Oh, yeah.
So they're blocking my view. The song comes on. I'm like, get the fuck off stage. You just ruined my experience. I paid $700 for these tickets.
Curse you, Lemmy.
Oh, man.
See, I would have been psyched. Like, oh, fuck Triple H. Oh, Lemmy, awesome.
But that's like, I'm a big fan of AC/DC. I like the people that can play that sounds like their goddamn track.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I agree. For me, like when I was younger, I used to hate live CDs, but as I aged, now I love live shit because I love hearing it fuck up. Like for me, like I would have been like, ooh, I want to hear Lemmy fuck up. Like I want to see them like how are they gonna come back from this? What are they gonna do? Like what's the spontaneity of it? Kind of like jazz or something, like synchronated jazz.
No, I get it.
In a game or something, you know.
I
but
get
now
the
that's
appeal.
just now.
I do like it. I do like the live. I just be better.
No, I know. I hear
Try
you.
harder. You know.
No, I hear you.
Well, I love it. I had the opportunity to see Sublime live. They were fantastic.
Oh man, yeah, that was back in the day. I remember them.
Yeah, I remember it was at the beach. I forgot which beach, but it was the beach, and they were out there outdoors playing. I was like, oh, this is dope.
Right, Long Beach. Remember Long Beach Dub All Stars?
No, who are they?
Oh, That was just them after. That was them after Bradley died.
No,
They had Opie,
guys.
the guy from that hung around the band. He started singing, but yeah, that's crazy, man. But that's just something I always
singer
ask.
Died for me. That was it. That was. I didn't
Yeah, they weren't the same after that. But they were real popular around here and stuff.
Oh, you know who was great live was fucking Judas Priest, dude. Priest was great live, but then they did that thing to me. One of my favorite Priest songs, of course, is "Breaking the Law," right?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you know that point at the end of the song, the official track, right?
Right.
Like the end of the song, where at the very end, he's like, "Breaking the law, breaking the law," right? He does that number.
Those pipes, yeah.
He does that. Everybody's in the crowd is waiting for it.
Oh man.
And he does this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, his shit was done, dude.
he points the microphone at the crowd. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Look, I want to hear those fucking falsetto. I want to hear those.
I don't want to hear me.
Yeah, right?
I don't want to hear Susie next to me screaming. I want to hear you, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Oh man.
I got to know too, man. Like, about your process, right? I know you're a Renaissance man when it comes to art. You do a lot of different styles, very, very good. For comic booking, that style, like what's some of your process? Do you for yourself? Do you like type up a script, then do layouts? Maybe you could go through that process for us a little bit. I'm kind of interested.
Sure. What I do is I'm a very I'm not a very what do you call it? Extroverted person. Everything I do is all in here and in here, right? So when I sit and I think, this is basically me like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a comic book creator, if you're not cool with sitting in a room alone for prolonged periods of time, you've chosen the wrong profession.
Dude, I'm fine with that. Dude, I was an over-the-road truck driver for 2 years.
Right.
No human contact. I loved every minute of it.
That's pretty nice. Yeah,
that link that pinned isn't the buckler. Oh, I don't know.
Really?
I don't know how to help you, Rick.
I'll see if I can fix it.
But everything I do is all here inside my little box, right?
Yeah.
So I'll sit there and I'll think, because I have the story that I want to tell. When it comes to other stories, it's kind of different. But when it comes to the buckler, it's thusly. I know the story. I know where I want to go with it. So I sit there and I close my eyes and I envision it like a movie, like I'm watching a film, and how I want to tell it. So I'll sit there and in my head, I'll make little sketches about the epic scenes, almost like, I don't know if you're familiar with like kind of like the intro process to animation, where you have like the major key points and then the in-betweens.
Yes.
Your big key frames. Yeah. Right. I'm thinking about the big impactful points in the story, the ones that I really want to nail down and get perfect. And that's where I kind of put the majority of my energy. I want to figure out how to show that. So I'll in my head, I'll move the camera down here. No, over here. No, maybe up here. No, maybe from this person's point of view. How about that over that shoulder? That might work. So I'll do all this stuff in my head and I'll say, okay, that's what I want. Then I'll start doing the sketch for that. Then I'll say, okay, that's the scene. How can I put that into the script here that I have? So I write the script around the major points of but the in-betweens, the scenes in between those big key points are the ones that I follow the script that I wrote closely. Like, okay. I need that story to kind of flow. This needs to be told. This needs to happen. I need to show this part, this part, this part. But when it comes to the big impactful moments, those are the ones that the artwork influences the script instead. For me, that's how I do. That's how I approach the buckler. Now, when it comes to other artwork, because I do work for a bunch of people, I do this for a living now. So
yeah, every
day I'm working on somebody else's stuff. The Koepp sends me a DM. Hey, I need a pinup for this, or Captain Finity in the chat here. I'm working on a book for him called Captain Finity, and he says, "Oh, I need a pinup for this. I want page 2 to look like this. I want a new page 1. I've already done 4 new page 1s." Because when you start to work this stuff out and it comes when it becomes real and in front of you, you start getting new ideas, right? So this stuff, I believe very solidly that you need to have a script.
Yeah, me too.
Or at least the idea needs to be really well formed already in your head. Like if I have a question for Brian about his book, he needs to be able to answer it immediately because he should already know this stuff.
Yep.
Like, you know, like I was making a joke. I was on with Mandy, and she was talking about her gem shock, right? How she was a girl in college or whatever. At the very end, I threw in a joke, right? My joke was like, "So, what's her major?" Which has nothing at all to do with the story, right? And they laughed, or whatever. But I suppose it was meant to be a joke because who cares, really, right? But
yeah.
Something like that. If you want to know, well, what shoe size is this guy? When he goes to talk to somebody, you know, is he the kind of person that if somebody bumps him on the way out of the store, is he going to look back? Is he going to not care and just shrug his shoulders? Is he going to break out into a violent, response?
Right.
You need to know all. I'm sorry, they're doing yard work outside in the yard right now.
No, dude, you're making total sense because that's information that the audience doesn't need to know, but you need to know.
Yeah. And it's good for the artist too, because sometimes we might want to draw like one little something and know something about. It might not even have to do with anything, but we just artistically we need to have that there. It just has to be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But also,
I say, if you know your character like that and you know your story like that, then you can answer these questions off the hop. You don't need a script because you have the script here, right?
Yeah.
Then you can just. For me, the Buckler story that I want to tell is here already. I have it all. You know, but if somebody says, "Oh, you have a script," no, it's right here. I'm the artist. What I need to put it on paper for? It's right here. I have it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like with screenplays. If you read a screenplay by somebody like George Romero, for instance, or James Cameron, they're page turners. They read great, but some directors like Walter Hill. Their scripts are very, very sparse because, you know, he's like, well, I'm directing it. So, you know, I know what I'm going to do. So it's just like, boom, 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 you know, just
that spontaneity too. Like, and if you want to change something and you don't want to shackle down your artistic approach to it, the fun of it,
sure.
It might hurt the story. It might make the story better. You don't want to be chained down.
Oh, never.
Be amorphous.
There's a scene in the original Buckler book, and it was one of the key scenes, right? And the scene, what I was trying to get across to the reader was that this character, Buckler, is a completely selfish person. He'll do things to people, and when he goes, 25 minutes later, they won't be weighing on his mind. completely forgets about, what are you talking about? Oh, that guy, right? So what I wanted to show was like the aftermath of something that he did that was small and insignificant, which was the testicle scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is something that everybody's done in the past, right? If you're a guy and you have friends, you give each other, nut shots.
Yeah.
Flick each other in the nuts, right?
Oh, you just a little bit of your hair.
Just a little bit, right? You don't full on wail on me, a little flick. And they drop to the floor immediately. Oh, you piece of shit. Fucking John. So he does that. But because he has the strength of 3 men, he causes the testicle to rupture.
Yeah.
And then a couple of pages later, you see the aftermath, which is, it's a big deal for this dude. This has just wrecked his life. Yeah. He's in this back room. He's crying. Somebody's there with his pants down. He's holding it down on a table, and they're sewing his testicle up back together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's like, Jesus Christ. But meanwhile, the Buckler's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
If you ask him about that guy, he couldn't tell you.
He just poured a drink and with some broads. Like, what?
And the reason I wanted that to be a key point was that's one of the main, character aspects of the Buckler is his extreme selfishness. He's a villain. You guys didn't know. For those of you guys that don't know, my story is a character study on a villain named Buckler. And it's not that he's, I'm trying to really, really hard to make him, and I don't want to make him relatable because he's not.
Yeah,
a bit of a sociopath.
Yeah,
but I want him to be grounded in real life. And in real life, and again, this is a little bit of a self-insert because I do have a little bit of sociopathy, right? I'm a very selfish person. And I have bad thoughts all the time. Like there's, and I wanted to make this relatable to the sense that if somebody were to just make their own decisions and not really worry about how What is your mom going to think if I don't do this? What is my dad going to think if I don't do this? What will my work think if I throw my cigarette butt out right here in the rocks outside of the break room, where it's not going to dissolve into the dirt? It's just going to be there for the next few years in perpetuity, right? If you don't care about that stuff, how will the world see you? And that's what the buckler is. He's just almost like the average dude, but with no chill.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like the dark side that we all have. Carl Jung called it the shadow self.
The shadow self, yeah. The shadow side.
Which we all have. And some people are very much tormented by their shadow selves. And Jung was a big advocate of befriending your shadow self. Like I always, what I do is I give myself a douchebag card. That's to say, you know, if I'm good and on the straight and narrow, I can give myself a card where I can do something dickish, right? but it's never anything terrible. It's always something like, you know what? Oh, I can't eat the last cookie. Oh, you know what? Douchebag card. I'm gonna eat that last cookie.
Fuck that. I mean that.
But not only are you gonna eat that last cookie, you're gonna take the box, put it back on, you know, in the pantry, so people think there's more cookies in there.
Yes,
tape it shut.
Yes,
nah, it's fucking that. That's extreme.
Yeah.
I kind of made the buckler his personality after a mixture of a couple of guys. Number one, me, but number two, there's this guy I used to know named Matt. No relation to Mission Middle Movies and Brucey, but he was a guy. He was a fellow truck driver, real sloppy drunk, and he was the kind of guy, a sweetheart of a guy. But once he got a couple of drinks in him, that was it. You didn't want to go with him places because, and it wasn't because he was, you know, an angry guy in general. He just couldn't handle his liquor,
Right.
and you never know what he was going to do at any point. Like if you were at a you know, Dave and Buster's or a bar, something, right, and somebody bumped into him, he could very easily befriend them and buy them a drink. But he just as easily could have started a fight right there and then. You never know what it's going to be. So it's always he was the guy that would show up, and you'd be like, oh, "This fucking guy's here."
The wild card.
I mean, yeah, he was the wild card, and that's what I wanted Buckler to be.
Ah, okay.
Because that volatility, that fear that having that wild card around can represent, right? Like there's this movie called Pain and Gain with The Rock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a good Michael Bay movie. His best.
I know.
And there was a scene in there that I wanted to kind of that was the buckler, right? And that was The Rock all strung out on drugs inside of a tiny room.
Yeah.
He was angry, and he had a baseball bat, and he was inside of a tiny, you know, those little rooms in the hotel where the guy checks you in.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 6x6 room, tiny ass room. What do you do if you're locked in a room with The Rock strung out with a baseball bat, and he's fucking breaking shit around you? There's nothing you can do. You're completely at his whim, right?
Yeah. Hell.
That's how I want people to feel around the buckler, because that's what he is. He's uncomfortable to be around, and the people that are around him, like his bull and moose, right? Yeah. They're people that are, again, themselves are fundamentally broken. Right. You know, that they can be around that and be in that atmosphere and be okay.
They're fucked up too.
Yeah, they're fucked up.
They're damaged too. But the misery
and that's what I wanted. I wanted to show this. I wanted to play with this idea, right? Because I also, you know, I suffer through the same problems. You know, people that write about, you know, writing that are not writers, you just write what you know, and people have a hard time coming to grips with me. Like when I meet people for the first time, they say, "Oh, you're too abrasive. You're loud." I have a very big, like in real life, my face is I have a big, abrasive, ugly Mexican face. And I'm the kind of, like, my wife will be unnerved, and she's like, "What are you fucking doing? You talk like a villain." Because when I talk to her sometimes, and I'm arguing or whatever, I'll talk and I'll walk around her as I'm talking to her, and I'm making points like this, and I'm walking around, because I'm very animated, right? Right. I'm not an extrovert, but I'm just very animated when I talk. Right. And so I'll talk around her in a circle, and she's like, "You're talking to me like you're a fucking supervillain, right?" And like you're like, so I gotta check myself, because people don't like me when they first meet me, and I have to say, okay, why is that? Why I have to take a step back do a lot of self-reflection, because as much as I like to claim that I'm self-aware, I slip very easily into not being self-aware at all. And that's something that endlessly fascinates me.
Yeah.
Is self-awareness. And the Buckler has fucking zero.
That's why I love that character, man. I can't wait to see, like, well, I mean, that's one thing too, like, that I like about the new campaign. You're doing it, it's in a different style, but it's also relevant to the actual universe.
Yes.
And I mean,
well, that's one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do like a side quest, right?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, you wanted to continue the story forward.
I like being railroaded. I like being on a track. I want to lead you where I'm leading you, and I don't want to take you somewhere that's a dead end, because this story is basically, here's the track, right? I want to take you from here, like this, back to here. You know?
Yeah, because it'll take you through Toontown or something. You know?
Exactly. So the story is actually very important because of the guy that owns this whorehouse. Because I don't want to get too deep into the story.
Yeah, no.
Because not because I don't care about spoilers. Spoiler: the Buckler dies in book 4.
Oh no!
That's the end.
Hey, well, Hellboy died too, and now he's running around in hell, fucking shit up. So you never know.
Exactly.
Plus, probably years we don't know, like the pre-Buckler years when he was I mean, there's a lot.
Oh, I got lots of stories. They're called the Buckler Diaries. I got, like, you know how the Koepp has legends?
Yeah.
I got the Buckler Diaries. There's tons of stories. For the
I wanted to bring this up eventually in this show, but I'm going to bring it up now. What's the deal with the man from Brownsville? So I was watching those. I was loving them. Very interesting. I've heard multiple things. I just want to know, and I know that's part of the Bucklerverse.
Yeah, the man from Brownsville is a Buckler story, and have not because of work. Like, there's some things that might be coming up soon that might be very good for me, art-wise. Well, I got hit up by somebody who's a very big YouTuber, and he's like, "Would you work on this project with me?" Right? And I'm like, "Okay, I gotta think about that, because that's gonna be a very big deal if I do."
Yeah.
I gotta like, my other clients are gonna have to take a back seat if that happens. So because of that, like, I had to kind of put some of this stuff on the back burner because I had a bunch of ideas. The man from Brownsville is one of them.
Yeah.
The Man from Brownsville is the story of the 4 years that the Buckler spent away from Winnipeg. Speaking of the ash can, when you read the ash can, you'll see why the Buckler left Winnipeg. Because, and then when he leaves, he has to leave not only Winnipeg, he has to leave Canada. And he goes south, as far south as he can, as far south as he dares to go, which is Brownsville, Texas.
Yeah.
It's just a stone's throw from the Mexico. He's a little scared. He's a little hesitant to go into Mexico.
Yeah.
Because if you've watched The Man from Brownsville, the Buckler's not impervious.
Yeah.
You can die.
Yeah, he's a man.
And if you're a killer, which there are many in Mexico,
for sure,
you can kill the Buckler. So he's like, I'm gonna go as far as I can go, which is basically South Texas. He had plans to go into Mexico, but they never really came to fruition. But he spent 4 years down there in Brownsville. When the Buckler leaves, he's not skilled. He's strong. He already has the strength of 3 men, but he doesn't know how to use it.
Right.
And he doesn't really need to, right? If you're going to get in a fight with somebody and you're 3 times their strength, you don't need to know how to use your body. You're going to
throw them and stomp them. Yeah.
Just like a gorilla. Yeah.
So what happens is he meets this guy named Guillermo Silva, or Willie. And Willie in Brownsville, he's a boxing coach / promoter. And he was very good, but he fell in with the cartels down there and basically traded away his prospects for quick money.
Mm-hmm.
Ruined his career. But now he sees in the Buckler the opportunity to see somebody, and really craft them into a killing machine.
Oh, man.
A wrecking machine, right?
You're
gonna eat lightning and you're going to crap thunder. That sort of deal. And so what he does is he takes the Buckler, tells me, "Look, I know that you're on the run. I know that you're, you don't really have a lot of options and you don't have a lot of funds to do what you got to do. You come with me, you work for me, I'll take care of you, and we're going to make you into a force so substantial that you're basically going to catapult me to the top of what I'm doing." You know, are you going to make me the new boss in town because I have you? So he does.
Damn.
And he basically, it's 4 years of like, Beatrix Kiddo and Pai Mei. You know, he's putting him through the crucible and turning him into an expert fighter. So he's taking this guy that has the strength of 3 men, this 250-pound guy, turning him into a 320-pound brick house that knows how to move and use his body and because he's such a good fighter and because he basically becomes the muscle for this guy and he goes through so many things that he can stand toe to toe with actual factual superpowered people because he's such a good fighter. Because that's when he's in his element. That's when he shines. Is when he's actually in a fist-to-fist fight, you know, and it's time to get down and dirty. He gets good. But I wanted to show I wanted to show how.
Yeah,
that's what the man from Brownsville is going to be. It's going to be the story of the buckler going from the dejected wannabe superhero to the super villain that he becomes before he heads back to Winnipeg.
I'm going to put that I don't have it right now, but I'm going to put the link to your channel. You guys go check out the man from Brownsville. You still got those 2 videos up on your channel, Dillard? Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, you guys got to go watch those. Pour yourself a nice drink or have a couple beers. They're very entertaining. You have 2 of them up there right now. If I'm not
and I wanted to make those like, just like, because again, we have so many stories to tell and how many years are there on this earth, right? So I wanted to put out, I felt like that would be a good way to just put out these stories for free, right? But to actually have some lore behind your character. Get some interest drummed up, right? If you have a series of videos that people can watch that are 10 minutes each or longer, that just explain, it's just a story. You're not sitting there it's not an exposition dump. You're trying to entertain them with the story. Right. Of course they would want to listen. And I got a good response from that. They've gotten more views than many of my other stuff, but it didn't do so well that I'm like, I got to drop what I'm doing and do this only,
Yeah. right.
So
I hear you.
I gotta, because I'm a one-band band, I do everything.
Yeah,
I gotta kind of
Swiss Army so much
what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'm working on a new, like that trailer caught fire. The one I did for the Buckler. This current campaign. Awesome. People liked it a lot.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's amazing.
And I was already working on a second, like a part 2, right? Like a second bumper.
Yeah. And
I was like, well, maybe I better hurry up on that bumper because this one seems to be doing really well. And then I jacked it up, right? Like I don't know if it was me or my wife. I'm not sure which one, but like it caught the algorithm, and like it went from like 50 views, 80, 100, 110, 1,000, 2,000, and I was like, wait, what's happening here? And then I started seeing in the comments section, oh, why is this in my recommends? I guess YouTube caught it and it was starting to recommend it to people because it's liking it so much. And there was no description. There was no link to my campaign in the video. So went back in, changed that, kicked it out of the algorithm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, man, that's gold. It's a badass trailer. If you could do another one, obviously you're a one-man band.
Do you want to see the beginning of the second trailer?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Hold on a second. Let me share. Let's see. Let's go entire screen. Share audio. I'm working on it. I work in this program called Filmora.
That's what I use.
Here it is so far. Let me know if you can see this. Can you see that black screen?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Hey, buddy, what are you doing over there? That's it.
That's good, man. That's awesome, man.
That's great, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more, man. Like, well, what I like, what I love about what you're doing too, with like the whole Buckler verses. You don't have to, but you do. Different styles. Like the first book you did it one way. I mean, the second book, this one, or at least the man from, or the you had 2 books with the first campaign. You had like the Templar side book.
Now, like when it comes to Buckler stories, there's not many out there yet. So far, chronologically, it would be the Ashcan Descent.
Yeah,
that would be the first story that's out there. Second one would be the Man from Brownsville. Third one is going to be the Temple of Polar Twilight.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Then the fourth one would be the first graphic novel, which is Ascendancy.
Ascendancy.
Then the fifth one is going to be this one, which is, so it's actually part 5.
And there's a sixth one too, right? Coming, and a seventh too. Like there's 2, and they're all a little different though. So there's
actually 9.
But there's every offering is a little different. Like they're not the same.
Yes.
Like they're all different in a way, and it's very engaging. Like for a fan like me to check it out, and I think that's really cool that you're doing that, man. Even your trailers,
because there's only going to be. Oh, thank you. I'd spend a lot of time on them.
Hell yeah, bro!
They're so hard, different, especially just a little
experience.
9 frames. It's 9 frames of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I got to
videos
bring in audio.
General are just like very time consuming.
The actual, just the graphic novels.
Yeah.
4.
Oh, okay.
Right. But one of them is very, very short. So if you could, I could, if I wanted to, make 3, right, like a trilogy. So there's the Buckler Ascendancy, which is out. Then there's going to be the Buckler Segregation, and then the Buckler Recompense.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's like the second one is so big, the story that has to be told, you know, it's going to be, I have to break it into 2 because there's a big main story, but then it's not a lesser story. It's a story that happens here in his head.
Yeah.
Right. It's a battle. It's a battle he's having inside with his father. It's a different kind of story. You know what I mean? And it's a big one. So it has to happen separate. It's almost like it happens in tandem with the second book, but I can't include it in the second book because it's too big of a story.
I
so
see.
I have to break it apart.
It's a big psychological journey in that section. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I actually have the new campaign up right here. If you like, I could share it. You can take a look at it. All right,
absolutely.
Cool. One moment.
Yeah, I backed it. Looking
Me too.
forward to checking
it out. Brother.
Thank you.
See here.
Yeah, you got it, man. Hey, look, you know, I wouldn't back it if it didn't look dope. It looks really dope. I'm all over that.
Hey, $4 is $4, right?
Let's sit right here. Oh, I had to get the
That's what everybody's telling me. Oh, I want the physical. Come on.
The physical, man. When you got a little trailer right here, man.
That's what I backed.
Cool if I play your trailer, Dillard?
Absolutely. That's what I made it for.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's always good that offer a digital tier, I think, but I've never backed a digital tier.
Hold on a sec.
You know, most of us in this scene are book people. You know, we want that.
I am, dude. I
in our hands.
I have to.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, you. Are you tired of lame-ass stories for kids? Well, don't be a moron. Walk through that door. What's wrong? Don't be a sissy baby. Just have a look. The Butler, Canadian Tussle. Exclusively on Fun My Comic.
It's exclusively on Fun My Comic.
Hell yeah.
So you guys going to come here and back this book. It's the only spot you're going to be able to get it. So.
Yep. And it just takes a second to create a profile. So don't be like, you know, I don't want to have to take the effort to like make a profile. You could do that like that.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to do something here. The whole reason that I wanted to get this campaign up and out so quickly is because I wanted to be like the first person that does something exclusively for Fun My Comic. And we're having a hard time over here with people trying to deplatform us and not let us be places where we can
Horrible.
succeed and make money.
Yep.
So one of our own people, Luke Stone, was like, everybody's always talking about, grab an oar. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not grabbing an oar. I'm strapping a fucking motor to this boat. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he did. He basically made his own site. It's a whole brand new site where you can put whatever you want, It's like an absolute free speech kind of deal. You can't advertise it, but you can make whatever kind of book you want, as long as it's not something, foul or illegal.
Right.
But as you can see, my book is plenty foul and it's on there,
Yeah. And this is a good, flagship book to have on here. It's perfect for it. It's a good way to show the creators like myself. I'd love to put my next book on here, hopefully, if I get the chance to do it. Yeah, man, like this looks awesome. And I see a lot of other creators.
We need this. Not only do I don't want to say this to sound like this is the pitch, right? Because it's not. But we need this platform not only to continue, but we need it to succeed. We need people to see that books not only can be on here, and fund, but this is the place where you want to have your books, because this is where the people are backing the books. This is where you can do what you want and you don't have to worry about getting an email in 5 to 7 business days. Like I get responses from Luke immediately. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I had a problem with my payment system, and he was like, "Let me just fix that for you real quick. Hold on." And okay. And it was during the launch,
Yeah, it's Luke too. It's like, it's Luke.
Right.
It's not some phantasm fucking who knows what the fuck over at some other place, And it's fine.
It's on my Schmo who's in charge of terms and services.
It's not like I'm making a scooter that cooks bread. You know what I mean? That can fly to the moon. Help me fund it. No, it's comics. Like that's
the guy that made this site makes comics and sells comics. That's what this is about. It's about making and selling comics. So
and we need to get away from Indiegogo because they're shadow banning our campaigns. Which means they're taking our money and they're not giving us what they're supposed to. In fact, they're actually thwarting us. I think how much does Fund My Comic take? Like 4% or something like that. 3. My God. Yeah, and that goes right back into the website.
I use this as an analogy, right? Like imagine you're broke down on the side of the road, and you need a ride. You got your gas can, and you need a ride into town.
Yeah.
You go to Kickstarter, right? Kickstarter is basically they're standing next to you with a big sign with an arrow that points to you that says, "This guy's a pedophile." Like nobody's gonna pick you up, right?
Yeah.
You got Indiegogo. Indiegogo's there. Indiegogo's there with their own sign blocking you, so nobody can see you. Right? And you're like, dude, I need to get it right. Whereas you got Luke Stone and Fund My Comic, they're out there dressed up like a lady showing some leg trying to get you a ride into town. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
And we all need imagine if you're just somebody that wants to buy comic books in this day and age, right? Wouldn't it be so fucking easy just to go to a site where they're all there, And it's a big community. Everybody talks about their comic books. We can all just go to one spot. It just something needed to happen, dude, and I think Luke did it, and
and I think that this community that we have is such it's something that people are missing nowadays because we have such too many. We're suffering from an overabundance of options.
Yeah,
like people are not out there anymore. Like remember when you used to go and hang around? Like for me, the last time this happened was like season 6 of The Walking Dead, or maybe. Like to a lesser extent, Game of Thrones, right? Where you have water cooler moments, where you have something that you watch that everybody else has also seen, right? I think the real mainstream one, the last time it ever happened was American Idol.
Yeah,
everybody was talking about the same thing. It just doesn't happen anymore because meanwhile, I'm over here watching indie comics and watching my movies, whatever, and this guy over here doesn't do any of that because we don't have channel 13, channel 12. He's over there watching some obscure manga from whatever, it's you don't ever have this feeling like in real life anymore. There's no like unified feeling of camaraderie, but you have that here. When I say Cyber Frog, I know for a fact that Matt and Brian know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I would love to have that website, that place, that hub where everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's all like, imagine if everybody was on the site. You know what I mean? Everybody could go there. Like, to me, that would be awesome, dude. You know, and like, it would be a centralized place for everyone in the world that wants to buy comics. They could just go there and pick them up, and it's only comics. And there's, you know what I mean? There's no like the the censored stuff is very vague. You know what I mean? And it's easy to create an account on here. If you're a newbie like me, you can go on here and just make something. And yeah, man, it's pretty straightforward. And I think it's a beautiful thing that what's going on right here.
So for me, and that's why I wanted to go full bore with the exclusivity, right? Yeah. I'm here, and this is the only place you can find me. That's it.
No, that's cool. Man.
You can also find me on Twitter.
Right.
Twitter draws.
Right. Well, look, you know, I mean, I created an account to buy this book. Now I have an account. I could just sign in. And, you know, it would be great if there was a bunch of us on here, eventually maybe all of us or just a significant amount, and then we could start cross-promoting. Hey, you like my book? Check this out.
Yep. I think that's I think that's what needs to happen, man. Obviously, I think everybody should have their own website where they can sell everything. They could sell their you know, their prints, their books, their stickers, their flyers. I mean, their prints. You know what I mean? Their exclusive stuff. You know what I mean? Every artist should do that. But I also think there should be one main crowdfunding site where people can go and crowdfund the book. Some people don't have money to like even go and make. Some artists, creators don't have money to even have a website. You know what I mean? They actually need to crowdfund stuff. You know, like there's actually people out there, a lot of people out there that are like that. And then one day, maybe, you know, they get talented enough and get a following, then they can have their own site. They can also come here and do that without having to worry about getting taken down or shadow banned, you know?
Yeah, so. Just fucked with in general. I mean, so many of us are just sick of it at this point. And Luke, God bless him, actually has done something. And,
well, imagine if there's someone flagging your campaign, right? And Luke's like, oh, it's the same. Let's say it's the same person flagging campaigns. He's like, oh, it's this motherfucker again. He's gonna know who it is.
Exactly.
He ain't gonna be coy about it either. He's gonna be like, all right, it's this guy or it's this person. You know what I mean? Ain't none of that gonna happen over here. You know, it just couldn't.
Right.
And if that person's creating new accounts, it's gonna look sus. You know what I mean? To bitch about other people's campaigns to try to take them down and create new accounts. You know. Like,
well, I mean, I always thought, you know, that's the great thing about being self-employed is, you know, if somebody wants to fuck with you and they call up your job to get you fired, they're like, are you aware that you have a Nazi working for you? Like, really? I didn't know that about myself. Click. You know, get effed.
So, in this story,
sorry, I was muting myself because they're right here with the blower, the leaf blower.
Oh, it's all good, man. So like we touched on this a little bit, but you know, I don't know if you want to go a little bit more into it, a little bit this story, John.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is this: I put up 3 pages of content because the book is 12 pages in total.
Right.
So I'm trying to give away as little as possible.
100%.
Because there are some things that there are some actual things in here. Like I said before, this is not a side quest. This has to do with the actual story. So I don't want to give too much away, story wise. But yeah, this one is basically it follows chronologically on the heels of the Ballad of Bucklet.
Nice.
And what happens in the Ballad of Bucklet is basically he gets word that his henchman, or I struggle to say henchman because she really isn't. She's just somebody that's in his sphere, right? She's a cashier. If you read the first book, the girl that lets him in, when he comes back from the Temple of Polar Twilight adventure that lets him in the door at night, that's Marie. That's Bucklet, and she gets her ass fucking handed to her by this pervert who runs a whorehouse. And he runs a adult film industry, and the underground adult film industry, snuff films, you know, animal stuff, real dirty shit. He also runs this whorehouse on Mulberry. So he takes Bucklet and he does a number on her, and the buckler hears about this and he has to go do something about it. Now he was already planning on doing something about this guy because this is a competing criminal enterprise.
Mm.
So this kind of just bumped up his timeline. He's furious because the Buckler is also very, very fiercely, territorial and protective of his own people. So he comes to basically set things to the way he wants them to be from now on, and when you have somebody, because he's new on the scene when it comes to criminals, but because of his ability, right? Because of his supernatural ability, he makes great strides very fast. So so after the first book and the story that happened in the first book, he's basically on par with the biggest crime boss in town.
Oh yeah, from the bridge and everything.
Yes. Yeah. So here he's basically taking on a third guy. And this story is important because this place itself, this whorehouse, it has its own backstory. It's a decommissioned CIA thing. It's a whole deal.
Shit.
So there's a lot of understanding. It looks cartoony and kind of like very simple, but there's a lot of stuff happening in this book.
I love this style, man, too. I love the way that you draw the other book too, but I love this one just as much. I like the exaggerations, like the big veins, the big arms. You know what I mean? Like, it looks dope.
Dude, like for me, like Sam Keith and Mark Teixeira. This right here is a rip. This pose right here is a 1-to-1 rip off of Sabretooth, my favorite comic book of all time, Sabretooth by Teixeira.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Where he's standing in the middle of the street and all the ninjas are coming in at him.
Yeah, dude. Or he gets a bomb in his chest and he's like, oh, fucking, Oh, yeah, I love that book as a kid, man. Big influence on me, too. And that first cover with the die cut,
Yes,
really cool,
that's
man.
the cover. That's the first time I ever saw, I was like, wait a minute. This could be like art.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like
that was the only story that I ever had that I had all 4 issues of because my dad bought it for me for my birthday.
Yeah,
it was the Sabretooth and it was the 4-issue pack.
Yeah, dude,
the whole run, the whole little series.
I got the first one, the second one, and then later on I got 3 and 4. And even Wolverine looked dope in there. He looked fucking huge, dude. Like, he looked badass, dude. Like, oh man, I love it.
And big dude, that scene when you first see Wolverine, when he shows up and he's on top of that building in France, I think it's in Paris, and it's a bird's eye view coming down on him, and he has his hand kind of like this, with the claws coming out, but he's wearing that suit, and his hair looks all badass. Ooh, that shit looks dope.
Yeah, shit's dope as fuck.
That's Teixeira. That's what made me fall in love with Teixeira. I was like, oh, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, man, that's just dope.
But yeah, I wanted to do this in a more fun way, and like if of all the things you've seen me draw in the Buckler so far, if I could do it in any style, it would be this style because this one is like this is my wheelhouse.
So like for me personally, I wouldn't hate it if you drew the Buckler like this, and I wouldn't hate it if you drew it the other way, like because I like both styles, like, but they're both dope. You know what I mean? I'm just saying as a fan,
But I'm saying like for me, when it comes to making money on my art, like doing it for a living, when I do stuff like this, I don't get hit up in my DMs about commissions as much as when I do my other style. When I do that other style, I'm getting lit up like the 4th of July. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I understand. I agree 100%.
So this lady here, this is remember that guy in the chat a little while ago, Captain Infinity?
Yeah. This
is from his book. This lady.
Oh, okay.
I borrowed a character from him.
I noticed you do that. Like there was another cat you did that, man. Like that's pretty. That's like some homie shit right there, dude. That's fucking dope. I
enjoy doing that shit.
No, I think that's cool, man. I really think that's cool, and they're usually like indie books,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he's like, hey, yeah. I was like, can I put your character? Because she's like a dominatrix, right? Her name's Dominica.
Yeah.
And she's like a real stern kind of. I was like, I need like a mini boss, the madam that's gonna run this whorehouse. Can I use your character? He's like, oh, absolutely. So I drew her, but in the book she looks nothing like this at all. In his book, right? She looks real, like almost like realistic, like a Betty Page mixed with something else. But I just drew a real cartoony. But yeah, I mean, she came out perfect, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. She's gonna be the madam of the whorehouse, and she's gonna be like the mini boss with the whip. Rick Piper says Dillard borrowed characters from a lot of people. He borrowed like 3 from me.
That's awesome, dude. No, I mean,
have you seen the Temple of Polar Twilight? Have you read that one?
Yeah.
The Native American guy that runs that CIA guy.
Yeah.
His name's Rick Arrow. That's Rick Piper's character. He's he's the guy that finds his character Snowdrift, an ice powered lady like lodged in the snow in the Arctic.
That's awesome, dude. And then from my understanding in the first book too, like for me, I really wanted to get the Ashcan, and that's like the other half of this book, right? And you're gonna see there's another character in that book too, right? I believe it's the Canadian Shield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And that's Rick Piper's character, the Canadian Shield. And yeah, in the Ashcan, like go down here to right under him, right here, stop. No, right where the writing where it says adults only.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to well, the writing up above it, where it's like this is a this kind of tells you right here, like the Buckler Canadian Tussle, which is the cartoony version, is a 12-page full color story that is meant for adults only. However, Canadian Tussle will be accompanied by the 14-page black and white Buckler story Descent. That's the Ashcan, and that's going to be on the back side and the flip reverse, so you can flip it upside down and read it the other way. That's fun. So it's going to be 26 pages of story, plus there's going to be about 4 or 5 pages of extras. Like pinups and design work and stuff. So
I love that stuff.
It'll be 30 to 32 pages in total.
Look at this.
But yeah, so this is him riding to the spot. He's so attempting to calm himself down, but it's not working, right?
Yeah. I love the Buckler van, man. The Buckler bus.
Oh yeah, it's great. I got my buddy Mallet CNC Works to do me a little miniature model. Of a bus. Dope. I told him this is what I want it to be. I want it to be a Volkswagen bus caravan, but it needs to be off-road style. And he kit bashed together like a the frame from a Dodge truck, you know what I mean? A 4x4 truck, and he put the stuff on top of it, mounted the gun so I can actually have it and take pictures of it and use it from any angle and draw it.
Yeah, the photo ref. It's even, and then you could make a toy maybe one day.
Oh, absolutely. I would love it. I would love nothing more. But if people bought toys from this thing, like they bought from like Ninja Turtles, I would be ecstatic.
Imagine the Buckler van, like the Ninja Turtles, but like that big. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
And there
something
it is.
You can actually stick a figure into.
Yeah. I would love to see like a Buckler, like Ninja Turtle style, like just the big heavy one, like Masters of the Universe, like that you could throw at the wall, like you'd pick it back up, like, strong ones, those Masters of the Universe style ones are the best, I think. Look at that. That's it right there. That's the Ashcan.
That's the cover for the Ashcan, yeah.
You guys are going to see
it. People really seem to like that story because it's they resonated with a lot. Like because they told me, of all the Buckler stories that you've made so far, this one right here was the one that stayed with me the longest. Like this is the one I like the most. The Descent
and for
story.
Me, I had, I loved Ascendancy, and I mean the last one that you did, and I seen you on a live stream and you were talking about this, and I was like, oh wow, man, I can't wait to get that one. I'm gonna get it next time it comes out, and here it is, and I backed to day one, and we get this cool other story with it. Can't wait. You hear that, folks? You got to come and get this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I backed it too, is because of what Matt was saying about it. And so I'm new to the world of the Buckler, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, nice. Man, you're gonna love it, Brian. And maybe we could talk about some of the tiers right here if you want, John.
Sure. So this is what I was trying to pimp, right? I was like, let's do a quick story and let's do it all, quick as possible, a 12-page story. And the reason I want this 12-page story stuck in my mind is because in that, I was just telling you that the book, The Descent, it's 14 pages. And people took from that story, they read a lot into it, and there's a lot there. Because, again, when you have it all in your head, there's going to be a lot there. But they resonated with it so much so that it impacted them more than the 32-page Temple of Poor Twilight or the 52-page Ascendancy. And it was 14 pages. And 2 of those pages I could have got rid of. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you can tell a story. And the thing that kills me is like, I don't really, the page counts, especially when you're doing indie stuff, right? You're not really like trying to nickel and dime your customers. You don't really care that much. If you got to make a couple extra pages, so what?
Right.
But if the story doesn't call for it, I don't want to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
economically.
So
all killer, no filler. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want it to be all killer. I want people, everything they read, to be like, this is good, and now it's over. Damn it, I wish there was more. But there's not more, because that's the story.
Yes.
If there was more, you'd be like, this story is dragging.
Right.
You know? And I don't want to fill. So I was like, I can do a story. I have a bunch of stories that are short, 13 pages. I have one that's 8 pages, right? But let me just try it. And I don't want to, and people would feel like they're getting ripped off. Oh, I'm not getting enough pages of story, right? I said, okay, well then I'll put it I'll make it a double feature. So you get a full-size comic with it.
Brilliant.
But I think that you can, I in my heart of hearts, I believe that you can tell a great story in 8, 12, 13 pages.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you could.
So I was like, you know what? Let's run with it. I want to do that. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it fast. Let's do it in that style that I really like to do. Because I could do this style like while I'm sleeping. It's easy. It's quick. This is because when I did caricatures for so long, I can do expressions and stuff like the back of my hand. I can do this fast. I'll do this and I'll make it digital. So it'll be the first campaign out there. It'll be digital. It'll be quick, dirty, quick campaign, cheap as dirt. You know, just get the character out there as much as possible. Right. People didn't like it. I don't like the idea. I want a physical book, and I want my book. You know, people like Brian, right?
Yeah, Matt.
And they're like, okay, I'll make a physical book. I'll do it like that. We'll do it right. I guess, right? We'll do it right.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, we'll do that.
$15.
And it's $15 for the digital. It's not too pricey.
No,
I mean, for the physical.
It was like 20. It was like $22-$23 for everything. Like it's cheap,
yeah,
dude.
I believe we have it at $8 for shipping. Domestic.
Yeah, dude. So come and get that. And then I really like this this worldwide too, right there, plus shipping. So you know, if you're across the ponds, pick that up. But I really like
everywhere
this
else.
Right,
it's $30 shipping everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it's like 100%, just more than you know.
And the reason why is because it's cost $30 postage to ship anywhere in the world.
Yeah, and it's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do. Like me and Dillard, we live in California, and it's or even in the U.S. It's just the same.
Yeah, struggle. And again, it varies, right? Like I remember I shipped someplace and it was $26. I was like, okay, cool. But then I shipped to Italy. I had like 7 books to go to Italy, and it was just the books, right? No original artwork, just the books.
Yeah.
I think it was $41.
I know, it's terrible.
But I love this. I love this tier right here. $200 plus shipping. You get a physical book, the PDF, an original art, 8x10 watercolor. Okay, color pencil, ink on toned board. I think that's like really cool. Like tier right there.
If you can zoom in on that, like that's one of the illustrations that's going to go to somebody. The one that you're drawing right there.
Oh yeah.
But,
well, I mean, I was just about to ask, like, could we see an example?
Yeah, give me a second. Let me grab it real quick.
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Because man, I always this is why I love sketch cards too. There's nothing quite like getting a book in the mail and getting like an original piece of art.
Right. No, and that art, like for me, like part of me like would want him to just do like this style that he's doing right here, just because it looks so dope. But then another part of me likes the style he does with that. Like, but I really wouldn't care. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, dude, fuck it, just do that. Like, like fucking muscled up 90s, like cartoonist caricature style, because that's what I like.
I kind of think of it. I kind of think of it like the way, like when you have like composers that like speak like numerous languages. That like, well, what made you decide to do this in French? What made you decide to do this in German? And they're just like, well, it's what the song needed. And I kind of think the same thing. It's just like, well, what's right for the story?
Yeah, and I think when it comes to original artwork for this story, this is the style I want to go in. And this is watercolor pens. It's like a mixed media. All that stuff. Like here's the image you see on the campaign. This is the Butler image. I haven't finished it yet.
That's sick.
Nice. You haven't finished his trapezoids yet.
No, I'm gonna do his traps. His chest.
See his traps. Yeah.
He's gonna have his fists one fist.
Dope,
right
dude. So dope.
And then this one's already finished. This one is a bucklet piece.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Whoa.
Hey, man. I love that style, man.
It's so good.
Oh, you got your lady in here too. How's it going, Miss Dillard Draws?
What up, Mrs. Dillard?
Hello, wife.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I love both those styles. You know,
man.
But I would.
Mrs. Dillard, you're married to a very, very talented man. I hope you appreciate that.
Don't you forget it.
I gotta let you guys know. I got the link pinned up at the top of the chat. If you guys can go back to Buckler. All right, Canadian Tussle.
And if you can't back the Buckler, go share it out.
Yes.
I need people to share this stuff out.
Folks, you don't understand how important that is. You can actually do us a solid if you're just like, you can't back it. Oh, snap. But you could share the link. And, you know, the biggest problem that we have as indie comics creators is visibility. So, you know, if you just share Dillard's campaign on your Twitter or your Facebooks, it makes a difference.
I gotta know.
Not only does it make a difference, it's the only thing that's going to make this succeed.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't like. It sounds like
folks.
It sounds like you're pandering, right? And people,
right?
People, it's almost like, oh, he's saying something like this, and this is what I really need to get across to you guys. Really do. I'm not saying this because this is like, oh, if you can't back it, we'll show some support in another way. No, backing is less important than you taking this link to my campaign and sharing it with your friends and family on Facebook.
Yep.
That's more important than backing the book.
Yep.
If you're like, oh, I want to support Dillard, don't back the book. Share it to your friends and family on Facebook. People that know you, people that know who you are, know that you're a quality person, and that you know what you're talking about. And when you recommend something, it probably means it's pretty good. People like that, when you can share the link out to people, and the people that see you in that light, right? People that know that, hey, maybe I will check this out. Fuck, that's what makes these campaigns succeed. When you have something that's, and the reason I wanted to make this like for the boys, right? This is for the boys. Right. It's a lot of tits and ass in this book, right? But it's not just going to be tits and ass. It's going to be a lot of shaft and vag. There's a lot.
Opportunity offender, yeah. You don't leave
so
anybody out.
Share it with the boys, like this, and it looks fun. It looks cool, right? You're not going to be embarrassed to share this with your brother, right? Your friend Steve at work. Share it with people. When you share that, if people like everybody that backed it, right? I think right now we're at 50 backers. If those 50 backers didn't back it, right, but just shared the book out on every place they're at, this book, no bullshit, would be at like 400 or 500 backers right now, because people need to see it. They need to, like, it has to be in front of them. It's the only thing. There's no other avenue. There's no other avenue for me to get exposure. I mean, everybody that knows me has already seen the book because I'm sharing it with everybody.
Right. So you need people to share it with everybody that you know.
Yes.
Because the biggest obstacle we face is exposure. Just people knowing that we exist.
100%. You know, it's like we're screaming into the ether, the void, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, you know a guy in CG named Cecil?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so
yeah, I know somebody.
When this guy was first kind of like coming and making live streams, he came on one of my live streams.
Oh, really?
And he was already famous, right?
Yeah.
He already had like on a regular like over 100 people watching him. And he comes on my show and he's like, "So, how many watchers we got right now?" And I'm like, I looked at my view count, right? It was like at 12, 13. And he was like, "Oh, so I should just go and walk into my closet and scream, right? Because that would get more attention." So I was like, "Fuck you, Susan." But it's like that's what we're doing. We're basically sitting in a closet screaming because we got nobody listening to us.
Yeah. We're over here going, yo!
His like start, like you could do a whole comic book about Cecil, like the start to where he is now. Like there's been like he straight up had an arc, bro, like a straight up superhero arc. Because he used to come in kind of acting like kind of homosexually, you know what I mean? Like doing his glass around, you know what I mean? People would talk shit to him and put him down and all this stuff. Yeah. He makes a comic book and he's fucking hilarious. And then he gets all swole and shit, and then he takes the mask off and. Crazy.
Once he fulfills, all of his credibility is going to go out the window.
No, once he fulfills, he's going to start having artists on. So hopefully he'll show you some love, brother. We'll see.
If he fulfills, I'm never going to back another book he does.
He was always good to me.
He's had me on.
Yeah, he's good to Brian too.
I didn't back Cash Grab to get a book. I backed Cash Grab so it could be a cash grab.
Spike grab. Me and Dillard are the CG smokers. Yeah, it's true.
Hey, what up, Joe?
You guys make me want to smoke. Like I want to smoke now.
Oh, that's why I got this.
But I'm not
right
going
here.
to.
It makes you look super cool.
Hey, Dillard,
Right
what's
here.
your favorite movie?
Tremors.
Damn, fuck yeah. See, he was just like, what? Tremors. Most
Didn't
people are
even
like,
have to think about
like me. I'm like, like it's gonna take a minute. But he was just like,
I'm sorry. Can you think of a movie that's better than Tremors? I don't think so.
I've never seen Tremors.
Fuck
Really?
you. I'm out of here. Bye.
Shit's on Tubi, son. Shit's on Tubi.
I'm gonna check it out.
Hey, dude, if we have you on, that'll be the
Kevin
movie
Bacon's
that
on
we
it.
do on a horror
Yeah.
movie.
Hold on a
club,
second.
Tremors.
You never seen Tremors, really?
I've seen parts of the other ones, and I just never sat down and watched it. Like, there's a bunch of random movies, like I haven't seen. Tonight we're watching El Santo versus the Wolfman and Dracula.
Yep.
That was a fun one. Different
I
style.
was just tearing my closet apart looking for my El Santo.
Don't watch
mask. I
El
can't find it.
Santo and the Wolfman. Don't watch Abbott and Costello, Jack and the Beanstalk. Watch Tremors. It's
It's
a
a Jack and the
perfect.
Beanstalk.
It's a perfect. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect movie. There's one part that I don't like, but it's like Terminator 2 or or True Lies. It's a perfect film for what it is. It does it better than any other film out there. It's perfect, just the way it is. It has horror, comedy. You have every single character you fall in love with. Every single character. It's everything about it is just an absolute joy. And it's one of those films you can watch from any point. Once you watch the movie, if you see it on TV, you're going to sit down and watch it all the way to the end again.
And the monster effects are awesome.
What effects? I mean, yes, there's some effects, but a lot of it's practical. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the best thing.
Practical effects were the shit. You don't see that anymore. That would all be CGI now.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't look half as fucking cool. Yeah,
little gizmos running around.
Fellas, I got a boogie. I gotta get ready for the horror movie club.
For sure, man. I've seen a little bit.
Dillard, man, you are welcome on any old time. Hit a brother up, and best of luck with this campaign. And folks, go check it out, and most importantly, share that link.
Share.
I'm gonna check out those.
My wife telling me I can't share your comic art at work. I'll get fired.
Nova
it's
Blast.
not safe for work, and it's not for kids.
It's one of the finest action comedies of all time.
No. That's incorrect. That is an incorrect assessment. Pull that comment back up. Nova Blast comment. Take away one of, and it's correct.
Yeah, right.
It's the best movie. It's the best action horror comedy. It's the best. It does it better than Evil Dead 2. It does it better than every other. It's a perfect movie. There's one point. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. It doesn't really affect the story at all. But there's one scene at the very end where I'm going to spoil the movie. It's an old movie, okay? But there's these things, they call them graboids, holdovers from the Pleistocene era, whatever, from the dinosaurs. They're underground worms that have tentacles, snakes that shoot out of their mouth. Horrifying creatures. And they are attracted to, or they hunt by sensations in the ground. They have feelers on their skin. They can feel when people walk on the earth, and they come up from under the earth, open up, and swallow them whole. Whatever. They've taken down cars. They've taken down, buildings. They're hidden. And the thing is, there's this isolated community called Perfection in Arizona. Tiny little town. No way in, no way out. The only road into town and out of town is like through the mountains. And they had an attack there, so the road is closed because it's under construction. So nobody's coming in, nobody's leaving. Nobody would go there anyway because it's a podunk little town of population of 14 people. And it's like, and Kevin Bacon says in the movie, this whole valley is just one big long smorgasbord for this monster. So they're trying to get away, and at the very end, they have these homemade pipe bombs because they have one of those doomsday preppers there named Bert, and he's him and his wife Reba McEntire. They make a bunch of pipe bombs. They find out that if too much sound actually hurts the creature, and they run away from it. Right. So he tosses. They're on a big precipice, right? And he tosses a bomb. The bomb goes off. The monster runs away into out of this canyon, and then falls to its death, right? But at the very end, Kevin Bacon, for some reason, stands there, shuffling his feet, and then jumps out of the way at the last second. There's no reason for that. He would have died anyway. That's the only critique I have of this entire perfect movie.
Footloose, dude. Oh man, Kevin Bacon was bombing fucking
another
Death
almost
Sentence.
perfect movie, Footloose.
Check out. Oh, he's bombing Death Sentence. I don't know if you've seen that one. That's like basically a remake of Death Wish, but by James Wan. But I gotta know, man. What's your favorite beer?
Oh, Dos Equis Amber.
Me? Oh, okay. Yeah.
And failing Dos Equis Amber, if I have to go to the regular Dos Equis, like the light ones, I'd rather have a Corona Extra.
You don't like the Familiar?
No. There's something about it, and it's not drink wise because I have a very bland palate. Mm-hmm. I don't have a refined palate when it comes to alcohol at all. I hate the taste of alcohol. So like all the drinks that I drink, they have to be either really heavily sugared or like a Kahlua, like I love eggnog and rum. I love coladas.
That was Southern Comfort's good too. That's how my sister makes it.
Yeah. The less I can taste the alcohol, the better. Because I'm not drinking it for the taste. I'm just trying to get bombed real fast, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't sit around and drink beer all day because I'm like,
I only drink beer on only drink beer on this show, really, and on Saturdays. That's my drinking day.
Saturday
drinking day. That's cool, man. So
when I want something, I'm at a barbecue and I'm like, I'll have like 5 or 6 beers real quick so I can catch my buzz, and then I'll ease off for a while. It'll be Coronas or Dos Equis.
Oh, that's cool. There's a beer that's similar to Corona called Jalisco. I think it's
Estrella.
That one's all right. I don't know if you tried it, but I had it down there in Mexico.
When I was in
my wife's from Mexico.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's from Jalisco.
Okay.
Jalisco, Guadalajara.
Okay,
so down there I went over a year ago.
I went over there. You know the town in Guadalajara called Las Pintas?
No,
how about Zapopan?
Zapopan? No.
Zapopan? They're in Guadalajara. They're just smaller towns in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
But I went there with my buddy Steve to go. It was family reunion over there, and we did this little side trip to Lake Chapala, and then came back.
So me and Chapala, yeah,
it's nice.
Brother-in-law's from there.
But the last day we were there, because we were giving them they didn't have a lot of money down there, and the money goes a long way. So we were giving them like every week we were giving them like $400, and they were like living high on the hog. You know, they were eating steak and shrimp every night. Yeah. And so the last night the guy was like, "Hey, you know what? As a thank you, he bought us all a bunch of beer to have a big party at the house."
Hell yeah!
Oh, great. And over there, down there you have to bring the bottles in. So we had to go around, and he went. That was the hard part. He went around to all of his neighbors to collect all the bottles so we could take them to get them filled with Estrella Jalisco.
Yeah, I think you earned that shit, dude.
And dude, we got fucking bombed. And it was great because he has this bull ring that he manages.
Oh, sick.
And if you have enough people together and you want to have a good time, they'll just go and get really fucking bombed and see who can ride the bull for the longest,
Yeah, dude. That's crazy. The next time I go down there, I want to see a luchador match. That's my brother-in-law's brother. He owns like a liquor store or a market in Chapala, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take you down to Guadalajara, and we'll see a luchador match." I'll
be like, "Nah, dude, I want to stay here in Chapala."
I just want to see it. Well, dude, I loved Guadalajara. I love seeing all the Gothic architecture and stuff. Like you walk through, it's like fucking Gotham City, bro, but like Southwest. It is. And you go down the street somewhere else, it's like fucking Mega City 1. And there's like these like parking structures that are crazy, and they have a fucking fat art district, bro. Like a huge art district with all these different art stores and art supplies and stuff. I was just like, man, if I was like rich, I could like live here like in different hotels every day, and like I don't know, it's pretty.
Dude, as much as people say like it's unsafe, like I felt safer in Guadalajara than like when I was in Chicago, Detroit, Columbus, Ohio. That was fucking very dangerous. I used to be a truck driver, right? I would go to all these cities, and I was like, you get a feeling when you get to a place like this place ain't safe. Yeah, I didn't feel that in Guadalajara.
No, the only thing I felt was like was the children, like they were starving like all the time. Like I'd be walking around eating some ice cream or something, or kids, just having they're the ones that needed the help the most. I'd have to give them my food or something. You know what I mean? Like that was like the only. I'm not. Obviously, there's crime down there, but yeah, that was the only thing, dude. You know, and it was sad.
Yeah.
But
like Joe Ball says, simple. This is how he says, I need cigarettes to live. My wife is always trying to get me to quit smoking. Joe Ball saying, simple. This is why I need cigarettes to live. As a male with a wife and kids, an incredibly large workload, life is always trying to kill me. In order to stay focused and zoned in, I need the cigs. It's true. Without my cigarettes, I'd be the buckler out there, just giving everybody fucking left hooks,
buckling them up, bucking them up.
Oh, dude, my daughter, she knows about the buckler, right? Because I have it on my phone.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's that? What's that?" She's only 4, right? This is my screensaver for my phone.
Oh, that's dope, dude.
Buckler. And she's like, "Oh, that's the buckler. That's my character." She's like, "Oh," so whenever she sees comic stuff, she's like, "And the buckler too?" I'm like, "Yes, that's right. Spider-Man and Batman and the buckler."
Right. Yeah, that's why I love about the buckler.
And then she told me something, and I don't know if it exists yet, but I gotta put it in the comic because she was like, "I'm the bad guy," and she called herself the Knuckler.
Knuckler. Hey, that's pretty dope, dude.
I was like, "That's dope. I'm stealing that."
Like a kid, like on the street, like he's walking by or something, and he's like, "Yeah, that could be pretty awesome."
I'm gonna give him a sidekick. He'll call himself the Knuckler.
Yeah, that sounds pretty dope, dude.
I love that shit. Like when the first time I saw, I don't know if you're familiar with the guys that work around here in CG, and they have a studio called Knuckle Supper Studios.
No, I never heard those dudes.
Fuck, that name is metal as hell. I want that name.
You know what else is metal as hell? Is the fucking villain at the end of the last Buckler book, dude. Oh, yeah, dude. His face is fucking motor pipes coming out, dude. Exhaust pipes. Yeah, so fucking dope.
Yeah, that's another character that I borrowed from somebody else. No, I didn't. I created him, but the idea, the name Thunder. There's a guy named Booster Kiwi.
Oh, okay.
He has a book called Obsidian. He normally does. He's a co-host for the Drawn and Quartered fan edition.
Oh, okay.
He used to be. He's not anymore. But him and Chester Busby would host that show. But we were talking about coming up with stupid characters, right? And we were talking about a character called, we call him Thunder because he's a male stripper, and he has he shaves his chest hair into a lightning bolt, right? And I was like, that's hilarious. But then that was the end of it. It was a little conversation. And then as I was doing the Buckler, I needed a henchman for my main bad guy. I needed a second in command. And I was like, I want to use this guy Thunder, but I'm going to make him fucking metal, right? He's going to be an ex-stripper, disgraced ex-stripper. He's going to be super fit. He still has the lightning bolt shaved into his chest at the end of the book, but he has this mask that has this dope ass, these pipes that actually have real, smoke coming out of them. And he's ripped to high heaven. And I gave him that, I created the character, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to credit this guy because he came up with the name Thunder,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The strippers, Thunder from Down Under.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's so cool, man. And you kind of just tease him a little bit. Like, you just see kind of like just the head a little bit, and like you don't get the full thing. And I was like, oh, dude. I'm like, that's the shit that I'm into.
He's actually going to be in the Segregation. The one after Ballad of Bucklet, Segregation. He features heavily in that one.
That's going to be dope, man.
Well, I don't want to give away what else he's going to be in, but yeah. Because I had this other idea, right? But that's neither here nor there. It's this idea of like, me and my wife actually came up with this idea. And she's like, why don't you just draw what you like?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I like? I like boobies. I like zombies. I like aliens. I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I like muscle cars. And so I was like, what if I put all of these? And I had this idea for a book called T-Rex.
I remember that.
Yeah. This is like beautiful, naked, big-titted Amazon women that drives, cybernetic enhanced zombie dinosaurs versus.
No, I mean, everybody loves that, dude. Like people would eat, like gobble that up, dude. People would buy it. I know I would, and I've heard you speak of concepts on it, dude. And
so
if you do that,
the protagonist was going to be Thunder, getting sent into the future to be the protagonist of that book.
Oh, dude. That sounds fucking sick, dude. That's metal as fuck. I would back.
It would be so good, and because like the main idea was like how do you fight, right? Because you fight against these Amazonian women who are massive. They're large, right?
Yeah,
big-ass
right.
women. They're at least 2 feet taller than the average woman. And they're enhanced by alien cybernetics. They shoot lasers, and they ride reanimated corpses of dinosaurs from the Arctic.
Yeah, that's dope,
like
dude.
falling flesh, but it's all mixed with machines, and they can control them. How do you fight this 3-Rex? It's a T-Rex with 3 heads. It's like a Hydra T-Rex. It's like the size of like a kaiju, right?
Yeah.
How do you fight that with muscle cars and machine guns?
Oh, dude, I want to read that. It's
bring in Thunder, who comes in, who's been asleep in a cave for a millennia, and he comes out of the thing with his fucking monster truck, right? You remember Truckzilla?
Yeah.
Dude, so he comes out with Truckzilla,
I want that book. I want T-Rex, man. You have to do it. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
I want to do it so bad. It's gonna be so good.
I need that book, dude. You have to do it. No, when it's there, dude, and you launch it, I'll be there day one to back that shit, man. Hell yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Oh, for sure, man. Well,
Joe Ball says huge amounts of caffeine. I probably down 1,500 milligrams a day. My immunity of the chains. I'll be 41 soon, and it's only getting worse. I'm hoping to ease off all the junk food once death is done. We'll see.
I can't wait for that book too. I got that one coming. I'm gonna be 40 pretty soon, so he's got me beat by a couple months.
Oh, I'm the youngster. I'm right behind you guys. I'm 38. I'm gonna be 40 next month.
Oh, nice.
39 next month.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, we're all like in a little row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah,
with
man.
me being the youngest and best looking.
You're the young John Diller, dude. That's what I'm gonna start calling you.
Hey,
ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Remember when that wrestler came out, Maven?
Oh, yeah, the dude.
His nickname was the young and talented Maven.
He had like some Nickelback playing. They always got like some Nickelback-esque band playing back in those times, remember?
Yeah. That's what me and all my friends would just call each other. We're like, oh, look, it's the young and talented Steve. Welcome.
Oh, yeah, he was on like Tough Enough, right? With Taz, remember? Throwing his back. Ha!
Mm-hmm.
Ha! You gotta like throw your back on the ground. Yeah, that shit was funny. Oh, shit, man. Well, John, thanks for coming tonight, man. I'm about to head over to the Horror Movie Club. I don't know what you got going on, but you're always welcome over there. We're going to talk about El Santo, Wolfman versus Dracula, or, and
I'll see what's going on. I know my wife is hitting me up here on my live because she wants me to go in there and do something with the kids.
Oh,
apparently kids need sun. I don't know. It's a new concept.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I took them out. I barbecued outside and got some new neighbors, and yeah.
I let her play outside, and she comes up to me and says, "Daddy, look what I made for you," right? And I was like my heart just dropped into my gut, right? And I was like, "Where did you find paint?"
Oh yeah, my kids, dude. They'll just start painting everywhere, man. Oh my god.
I go and look at we have one of those little, those concrete tables that has like a concrete top and like 3 semicircle concrete pads.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? They're made out of concrete, but the seats themselves kind of look like in a half arc.
I think so, yeah.
And they're super heavy. Like my father-in-law exploded his thumb because one fell on his thumb.
Fuck.
But I go over there and look where she was at, and the whole top of it's all purple. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, got in there, huh? That's how you know they're going to be.
That was today.
Yeah.
Apparently, she needs more sun than just that experience.
Oh, man. Well, sometimes you got to take them out there,
As long as they stay out of my hair, go outside and play. I'll watch you. I'll make sure an eagle doesn't come by and carry you off. But let me look at my phone and you do your thing.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, thanks again, Dillard, for coming on, man. We gotta come on. You gotta come on again, dude.
Okay.
Whenever you want,
I'm available tomorrow.
Yeah, whenever you come on, or whenever you want. Love to have you on. There's always a multitude of things I'd love to pick your brain about. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. Where can people find you at?
I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a full-time illustrator. I'm here 18 hours a day. You can reach me at any time.
Oh yeah.
You can find me on all my social medias are all Dillard Draws. Instagram, ArtStation, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Dillard Draws. DILLARD DRAWS.
Hell yeah, man. And go back the Buckler.
The Buckler. Canadian Tussle.
Exclusively on Fund My Comic. And I have that pinned up right there at the top of the chat, folks. Thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it.
Matt.
Thanks for coming on again, John and Brian. And this is episode 25. We're still young in here and green, and I love it. And thanks everybody. And always remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role. I'll see you guys later. Bye.